Okay, so this is a fun one. This is for number 7, lucky number 7. And the cards were jumping out on this one. I had to reshuffle a few times because I was like, I want to make sure I get this right. And there's a beautiful story in this, okay? As you can see, we have a few major arcanas, a bunch of really sad looking cards, and then some happy cards because, you know, everybody's happy. Okay, all right. So I always try to remind people that this is kind of broken up into 2 stories, okay? No matter what you ask, this part here is the background to the story, okay? And this part is kind of the what's happening next. It's always important to understand the background in order to understand what's next. Now, to kind of disclose, I guess, I know this person. I've known them well in the past. I do not know them well now. So this is an interesting story to me, and kind of talking about who this person is, what this person has been through. I guess I can say she, yes, what she has been through, because, you know, almost everyone's a woman that asks for a thing, so we'll go with that. I want to go to, where is it? I had that highlighted. Oh, here it is. Okay, I actually had to look up my book because I was kind of fascinated by what was going on here. Okay, all right, the Chariot. The Chariot's really cool. The Chariot is the thing that rides the line between yes and no. The Chariot is all about the whole binary realization, duality, causal of good and evil, yin and yang, and all that jazz. The Chariot's actually really cool. So if I can absolutely see this embodying her personality because she is extremely strong, but she is very loving. So I certainly perceive her as she's also a big warrior, and certainly I would think understands both sides of something before she makes a decision. So that certainly fits her. She is crossed by the Knight of Cups. This is interesting because I think this is a person. I'm not going to say who. I don't think it's her spouse, which makes it, well, maybe it is. I'm not sure. I haven't met her spouse. I hope I do. I hope I do get to one day. The Knight of Cups, notice it's not a king, right? So we have page, knight, queen, king. So the knight is one that's going out to fight for his kingdom, right? He does not have a kingdom of his own. And remember, cups is our emotional realm, okay? So touchy-feely kind of thing, someone that certainly would admire the Chariot. Now, cross doesn't mean enemy, right? It just means it's someone that's super involved in their life or a situation that's super involved in their life right now, as is dictated. I actually think this is one of her young ones, but I'll leave that at that. Behind her. Now, this is absolutely, this is my favorite card in the whole world. It's amazing. I don't have a tattoo of that yet. The Hangman is the phenomenal story of Odin's sacrifice to discover the runes. How does that translate if you don't know that story? It is someone who has fully submitted themselves to usually a spiritual quest, and a full realization of letting go of the material and really seeing what's important in the world. You know what I mean? It's not the chicks with the Ugg boots drinking Starbucks, you know? It's about family and community and coming together to rise above and just kind of rethink what society perceives as important for us versus what we know is important for us. So that certainly has her back. That's a super, super strong card. You know, sacrifice, strength, knowledge. It's a beautiful card. I love that. This is a great story. Okay, above you, the Page of Pentacles. Whereas we had a knight, now we have a page. Page is like page is a teenager. You know, that's pretty much. Even though it might be an adult, it's the emotional knowledge of a teenager regarding money. Could this be a person, perhaps, that I don't know? How this deals with the situation, I'm not sure, but I'm just going to roll with it. So the Page of Pentacles being above you, it's certainly an influence. I don't think it's something that's going to weigh you down. It would probably be someone that you would be tutoring and kind of introducing the idea of wealth to, not necessarily as just money, but wealth in general. Okay, below you. Now this seems like a really sad card. There's a reason for that. There's a dead person. But the Four of Swords actually represents the end of that cycle. the cycle of conflict. You know, swords is all about protection and destruction. This is one of those ones that is the end of destruction, moving towards, you know, protection and the next step. It really is, again, about the spiritual life, because when people die, we always rethink what we know about life. I mean, that's just, it happens whether we like it or not, you know. The swords on the wall represent the Holy Trinity. It also represents thought, action, deed, blah, blah, blah. It speaks to the spiritual freedom after we die. So while we're stuck here in our human bodies, after we die, we're free. Yay, free. So, you know, the end of a struggle, death, this doesn't normally mean the death of a person. This is more like the death of an ideal and the freedom that comes after it, which definitely connects with the hangman. So you gotta love that. Okay, where's my cups? All right, the 8 of Cups. Again, this is one of those ones you could really just, you could write a whole novel about this. The 8 of Cups is giving up and walking away. Why is this important, and how does this relate? Okay, well, let's look at the card itself first, right? So we've been looking at everything separately. So the 8 of Cups itself talks about the human need for letting go, right? Leaving things behind in order to discover something new. That the things that we have aren't always the things that are good for us, right? The idea that one day we have to pour back everything we know into, you know, how would you, I'm trying to think of how to put that. It's like the self-sacrifice, all right? Like you're sacrificing yourself to save your family, you know, and again, the Cups is emotion. It's kind of, it's that duality again in the Chariot about, you know, if you stay and what happens if you go. And in this particular stance, the person is leaving and they're leaving their cups behind. A lot of times this speaks to travel, and not in a good way. You know, it could be you have to go on a work trip and it sucks. Or somebody died and you have to go to the funeral. This to me, this whole section all together, like, just reeks of a spiritual quest. And I don't know if that is true. I don't know if that is true. But it is a beautiful story. Because in our spiritual quest, normally we have to leave behind what we thought was true in order to seek out the knowledge that we're looking for. We're finding our own truths. Yay, X-Files. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Because this is a really cool layout. Yay, number 7. Okay. So we're on to the next part, right? And this is more talking about the situation of the question at hand. So this is the background to our story, okay? And now we're moving into the situation at hand. All right, let me flip back to the Priestess because I had a really cool note. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so the Priestess. The Priestess is really interesting. She is literally number 2, all right? Why is this important? This is important because 2 is the duality between man and woman, right? And of course, it's the ultimate personification of the cups, which means the emotions and everything maternal and loving and giving that women are responsible for doing. She's the priestess because she is responsible for the door to the temple, okay? Why is this important? Because if you're on your spiritual quest and this is your environment that you're in, this is, hey, this is awesome. This is super awesome, okay? So, yeah, you. Okay. Queen of Swords. You know, I love queens. I hate queens. This is not someone you want on your bad side. It isn't. Again, the Queen of Swords is interesting because she is the protector. Of course, all the queens are protectors of their people, but she, again, is of that dual nature. And a lot of this reading speaks of dual natures, okay? So a lot of times we have to embody the Queen of Swords. And she's certainly showing up in that fashion. So in this stance, you would have to take on the Queen of Swords, which is great because, you know, Queen, Swords, awesomeness, respect, whatever. But you also have to hand out the butt whoopings. So, yeah. The good news. Family. Good stuff. Babies, family, happiness together. This is a beautiful cup. This is one of those cups that you really want to see in a reading because, yay, happy, joy, fantastic, tiny people, happiness, just, it's a loving family card of joy and celebration. So hooray for that. Okay, and our answer, did I look that one up? I don't even think I looked that one up. The interesting answer after all of this that was a question but wasn't really a question is the Seven of Rods. The Seven of Rods is actually, this isn't a fight. Even though it may look like he's fighting off people, this isn't a fight. This is actually about planting and responsibility and caring for and grooming like a garden, okay? Safekeeping, we're talking about bebes, tending things for the future. So it was a really interesting reading because we go from this big spiritual quest, which might be difficult. You have to leave a lot of ideas behind, to embracing your duality and becoming something stronger and better, to having your wonderful loving family, and then the responsibility of tending and keeping everything in motion. I mean, it's a high calling for sure. I don't envy you that. I have enough, thank you very much. I hope that answers something that you were looking for. I really do. Again, this was number 7. I love you guys. We'll talk to you later.